corporate organized gang stalking mind behavioral control program that I now dub Gog's New Gestapo. And that is Gog, G-O-G, not God. It may or may not be a coincidence that in 2013, the year I became sensitized to the fact that I was being targeted, I was working on a series of articles entitled Is Crestone Baca the Vatican City of the New World Order? An expose of the New World Religion, and had just completed Chapter 6 for that series, entitled Mind Control, History and Applications. However, I may have been watch-listed and put in the program much earlier because I had already presented considerable evidence that 1. 9/11 was an inside job, and 2. The man-caused global warming is a fraudulent hypothesis that serves political objectives, etc. on my websites. And go to naturalclimatechange.org to learn about that. And I think he put some more about natural climate change on this website too. As noted, my investigations into the often suppressed history of the past century indicates that Gog's New Gestapo is derived from many previous psychological warfare, psychoterrorism, civilian pacification, mind control, and electronic psychotronic weapons development programs that were developed in and deployed against civilian populations in the Soviet Union, Communist East Germany, Nazi Germany, Britain, United States, and Israel, among other nations. See references on gang stalking, mind control, and cults. Again, essential components of Gog's New Gestapo include the use of, number 1, psyop and gang stalking techniques, psychopolitical warfare. Number 2, psychotronic, neuro, and non-lethal soft kill, non-lethal in quotation marks because it's very, very lethal. Soft kill, silent kill, slow kill weapons. And 3, remote methods for brain mapping / mind and behavior control / cloning called RNM, remote neural monitoring, and remote neural manipulation. Now, and then y'all have heard this from me. When he says cloning, he doesn't mean clones in a vat of human beings. He means cloning people's brains, like cloning, like brain mapping, and kind of cloning, neural mapping, like basically cloning the brain. This website is an attempt to understand this draconian, odious, and terminal, that is, unto death, program that targets innocent civilians for torture and premature death. With better understanding, TIs such as myself have a better chance of, number 1, defending ourselves from it, number 2, exposing it as illegal, and number 3, dismantle it. Okay. So I might skip down. I wanted to go to some of these quotes. I need to go through this because this is who Dr. Eric Karlstrom this is who he has studied and researched and found out that these are some of the people involved, some of the institutions involved, institutions, programs, operations, and nations behind Gog's New Gestapo. An examination of literature, see above references, indicates that Gog's New Gestapo has been developed and operationally refined in the following institutions and programs, among others. The Tavistock Institute of Human Relations in London, England, was the post-World War I outgrowth of the Psychological Warfare Division of the British Army. See, for example, Mind Control, History and Applications, Mind Control, History and Applications. Okay, he put that one twice. CIA, Tavistock, and Global Gestapo Security State, Gang Stalking and British Psychiatry, The Controllers and Their Destructive Mission, How They Control. The secret CIA-Nazi trauma-based mind control experiments and programs referred to as MK Ultra and Monarch, which include projects Bluebird, Artichoke, Chatter, MK Naomi, Stargate, and probably hundreds of others. In addition to developing chemical and biological, including drugs, methods for modifying and controlling human behavior, these programs developed electronic, psychotronic weapons and measured the effects that electromagnetic frequencies have on the human organism, with the goal of controlling the minds and behaviors of individuals and whole populations. and he has some things you can read below it. I'm not going to go through them. But come to the website and look at the reading that he did to, put a lot of this together. He's done a lot of research. Number 3, the CIA's Phoenix program and MH Chaos, the FBI's COINTELPRO, CIA MI6, NATO's post-World War II Gladio stay-behind armies in Europe, and U.S. military's Garden Plot cable splicer programs, East Germany's Stasi secret police, and the Soviet Union's Cheka Red Terror, and American police department's Red Squad citizen pacification programs of the previous century are all used to suppress dissidents, internal enemies within domestic populations in order to protect the interests of the state. Actually, the financial elite that controls the shadow government that controls the state. I agree with that. I agree with there's an oligarchy, the financial elite that controls the shadow government that then controls the state. I totally agree with that. Okay. I sneeze. Oh gosh. That was me sneezing, guys. Okay, the national, I might have to wrap this up at 30 minutes, guys, and I'll come back. As I talk more, my throat kind of gets worse. The national security racketeering state. Today, Gog's Gestapo is most probably mainly coordinated and executed by the Pentagon Corporate Intelligence Complex. That is behind mass surveillance, global information war, endless war, propaganda, and Skynet. The secret network behind mass surveillance, endless wars, and Skynet. There's some reading things. Those are some reading suggestions or where he's researched. The secret network behind mass surveillance, endless wars, and Skynet. FBI and NSA outsource harassment of targeted and watchlisted individuals to private firms, Brian Coffin, and Silent Holocaust. I'm not sure what that was. Each branch of the U.S. military has full capacity to independently conduct gang-stalking activities at home and abroad. See New World War, Revolutionary Methods of Political Control. The Department of Homeland Security and private security firms involved in the National Security Racketeering Network, such as SAIC, Scientific Applications International Corporation, SIS, Security Industry Specialists, Incorporated, Amazon.com, James Bimman and Associates, Blackwater, the NSA's Taylor Access Operations, and Cyber Command in Fort Meade, Maryland, the FBI's DITU, Data Intercept Technology Unit, SciComm, Baltimore, Maryland, Black Cube, Kroll, Northrop Grumman, the Highlands Forum, Graystar Property Management, Media Lab Human Dynamics Group, and RAND. And probably thousands of others now also play central roles in global stalking operations. These firms operate in collaboration with the CIA, NSA, FBI, DIA, and DoD, and innumerable citizen vigilante groups, Neighborhood Watch, etc., NGOs, religious cults, and at least 114 universities. The University and Security State DHS joins Pentagon and CIA on campus. I gotta read that article. 114 universities, etc., to form the national security enterprise, a booming growth industry in America. It's probably the number one earning industry in America. Is this gang stalking and everything? Okay, so I want to go down to. Those are just some of the programs and institutions involved. I want to go. Some of these quotes were really good, and I guess I have about 5 minutes left, so I wanted to go through some of them because some of them were just like I was like, wow. I mean, people really said that. We shall have this one. I know. So number 1, we shall have world government, whether or not we like it. This is not Dr. Eric Carlstrom. These are just quotes from rich, famous people, basically, throughout. I think throughout the century, maybe before. We shall have world government whether or not we like it. The only question is whether world government will be achieved by conquest or consent. James Paul Warburg, February 7, 1950, before the U.S. Senate. Warburg's father, Paul, was father of the Federal Reserve System. The Warburgs are a German-Jewish Illuminati family closely allied with the Rothschild family. Number 2, I can hire one half of the working class to kill the other half. Now, see, this is what I always think, because that's what we have. We have one half of the working class killing the other half. This is Jay Gould, on 19th century robber baron, railroad builder, and financier. So Jay Gould said, I can hire one half of the working class to kill the other half. Number 3, in a report presented in 2012 to the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, the Aspen Institute of Homeland Security Group advises we move away from a defensive position of protecting the country from foreign terror threats. Instead, we should focus on becoming a domestic security architecture, concentrating on offensive measures on single adversaries. The statement translates into targeting citizens as emerging adversaries within our borders. Bobby Towers, Circle of Snakes, How to End Your Gang Stalking. So Bobby Towers said this. This is in the book. He was saying, I need to read that again because this is very important. In a report presented in 2012 to the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, the Aspen Institute of Homeland Security Group advises we move away from a defensive position of protecting the country from foreign terror threats. Instead, we should focus on becoming a domestic security architecture, concentrating on offensive measures on single adversaries. The statement translates into targeting citizens as emerging adversaries within our borders. Okay, number 4. This is by a targeted individual, an anonymous targeted individual, and I should be able to get to like 2 more. The goal is to create a nationwide system of vigilantes who do not think for themselves but follow orders. The evil-doing U.S. government-paid defense contractors, private army of shooters, not thinkers. The network is run by contractors and by DHS's Department of Homeland Security 78 fusion centers. The propaganda is that they are fighting terrorists, and that is what they tell these vigilante suckers. The truth is that they are constructing a nationwide GPS cell phone directed prison system that now contains all Americans. And that's by a targeted individual. I'll read this last one, I think, and then I'm going to have to stop. Maybe I can read 2 more. Number 5. A silent war is taking place in cities all over the planet. It is covered up by... I like this quote. Let me start it over. A silent war is taking place in cities all over the planet. It is covered up by the media, mental health system, NGOs, and our elected officials. Now that the financial elite are finished using the U.S. military and allied forces to conquer nations in their quest for global domination, they're neutralizing individuals and groups of resistors who live among the people. To do this, they have recruited a major portion of the civilian population, which is used as a surrogate force to persecute those who have been identified as enemies. As part of the same agenda, the security forces are conducting psychological operations on civilians and torturing them with directed energy weapons. The entire operation is in service to some very wealthy psychopaths who rule our society, as part of a global revolution intended to result in a planetary dictatorship known as the New World Order. Mark M. Rich, The New War, Revolutionary Methods of Political Control, in 2013. I got to read that book because I totally agree with that quote. Let's see, number 6 is very long, and I'm at 29 minutes. Let's see if there's a short quote. Alright guys, I think I'm going to have to end it there, but I'll be coming back to this website a lot, just to read stuff off of it, because I know that you can say go to this website, and a lot of you guys will. You'll come here and you'll check it out and you'll read through it. But sometimes, as a target individual, I have a short attention span because of all the torture. So I figured just reading some very important parts and like putting it in people's faces is a good idea. And I will continue to do that. Leave comments if this is annoying. Like if you're just completely annoyed by me reading stuff and you're like, I don't think that's a good idea. I'll probably keep doing it, but please, leave your comments. Let me know And I'll see you guys on the next one, okay? I'm going to try and heal my throat tonight.